Hello, hello.
Bobby D.
Two
Man
sets on
himself,
here.
Scott Robertson.
In the flesh.
Wow.
Well, we'll give it another minute for everyone to join in who's joining in, but we are recording this so that we can share. If anyone has questions about the summit, then we could obviously share it to all and hopefully answer some questions for folks. But yeah, well, hi everyone. It says you're talking, Bobby, but we don't hear you. Oh.
You have hair that looks that good. You don't have to talk.
There you go.
No, we're
You're
here.
talking about me, right?
We're doing things, but we're listening. We're present and accounted for.
All right, good to see y'all. Well, we're super excited about the summit this year. I mean, every year's theme is business development, really, but we've really focused on creating a program for folks that are going to give everyone from the most experienced auctioneer to the beginner auctioneer tools that they can use to develop their business in all facets. So we could certainly talk a lot about and answer questions about some of the speakers and some of the programming. But before we even begin, does anyone have any questions they wanted to ask us? Well, I'll start. A lot of people, some people were asking online about the hotel. So it's one hotel, but it's actually two hotels, right? When you go to book it, it's a little confusing because you see, well, which hotel do I want to stay at? They're really the same hotel. It's just it's a boutique hotel to start. So it's not your Marriott chain. So it's a boutique hotel. And there's just a difference of the type of rooms. One side of the hotel is one type of room and the other is another type of room. There's not much difference other than like one's looking at the bay, one's looking at the ocean. But we're all equal distance from the conference center. It's all right there. So it's just basically you're choosing what side of the hotel you want to be in. Another question that's come up often is, well, what if I go online to book the hotel, we get that special rate that the NAA has negotiated. Thank you, NAA. But if I want to come early or I want to, stay the last night or extend my days, what do I do? The answer is, because it's a boutique hotel, you're going to book your days right away with the block dates that we have. And then as soon as you book, call them and you can extend your stay on either end. And then just ask them for the courtesy of offering you the discounted rate. And I don't know if they can guarantee that or not, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And I personally did ask, and I know others that did and have gotten discounted rates. So it's definitely worth the ask on that front. So did anyone else have any other hotel questions? Another thing that note, if you not right now, because the NAA site's temporarily down for a minute, but when you go to the summit's website where you have all of the schedule of information of the booking and the reservations and all that, there's actually a list of who is registered to attend. So if you want to save money and you see Scott Robertson is there and you want to ask him if you can room with him,
The site's back up, by the way.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, let me open it up on my other screen. Patrick, what do you got to say?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Patrick Desmond. I'm a member of the task force. I thank you all for showing up. Last year was my first year at the summit, and I was on the task force. So I'm still sort of drinking from a fire hose. But everybody being here today is just that vibe that I got last year. The support is greatly appreciated. The task force has worked hard to listen. Seth has been a fantastic leader. You've seen him in person. He's the same way all year round. He just gets stuff done. And Christina and Brooke have been a huge help. So I know it's going to be solid. We'll look at the schedule and try to talk about it with you a little bit. But we did a lot of work and tried to keep it fresh and keep our attendees in mind.
And also from the task force, we got Marcy. You want to say hi quickly, Marcy?
Hello. I'm the bringing in some of the non-auctioneer side, hoping to reach people who maybe are in the same position that I am, who are not an auctioneer and will never be an auctioneer, but always find something useful at the summit.
And Marcy, as she works with Jim Nye.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. So she adds a whole other perspective. Like there's the auctioneers on stage, but then what about the clerking and the management of the admin and this whole side to it? So it's really awesome having Marcy on the team because we can sometimes be in our blinders of auctioneers and she can see some of the other sides of the picture that we're missing. And that's also you'll see that in our programming. So when we talk about our programming, you'll see how that plays out. And some of our other committee members that aren't able to join us today, they're all different sides of the country, parts of the country. And, some just do a few auctions a year, whereas others are traveling all over the country and others are doing mixed stuff from being DJs and MC work so it's a really interesting group of auctioneers that have come together for this. And I guess when you want to talk about a little bit of the programming, we can kind of jump into that and just kind of give you a quick overview. And anytime anyone has anything, hit chat or let us know, just jump in. You can talk over us. We're okay with that. So the summit begins Sunday, August 27th, 5 p.m. We'll do our registration. We have our welcome reception and Kathy Kingston benefit auction. So if you went last year, you saw we kind of we actually did an auction, right? And this year, similar to that, we're going to build on that. And the goal is, one, we want to raise money for the Kathy Kingston Benefit Auction Fund, providing scholarships for benefit auctioneers to continue their education, but also to give people, proof in the pudding, right? Like it's one thing to talk about a concept, to do a game or, do something like that, the revenue generating game, or to do anything, a fund, a need, a paddle raise, all this sort of stuff, right? But then to see it in action. And so everything we do, it will be something that everyone can participate in and we'll be raising money, but it'll also be able to see how you can execute these things. So you'll have the tools to be able to do that on your own if you haven't done that. But that's night one. And if you haven't been to a summit, George is a great example. George, yes, you right there, George. George goes to the summits and he's created he's networked with other auctioneers and created friendships. Now, George, maybe even speak on that. Like you're like the boys in Chicago, right? Didn't you end up going out there?
Yeah. It's been a great year for the Nameoff brothers and me to coordinate. And to their great credit, they get extra gigs and they're like, hey, and everybody who knows Mike Nameoff, Josh, I need you in Chicago now. So like, I'm there, dude. So yeah, I love that about the BAS pros is that wherever you're at, there's always a networking branch that you can reach out for, and such good people. So I got to say from the beginning, Scott Robertson has been a wonderful mentor, and Bobby D and lots of folks. So there's a lot to learn from some seasoned pros.
So what I hear you saying is not just the education that happens during the day, but it's the networking and friendships you
Oh,
create at night.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely the networking and the learning. But let's face it, we all go there to see each other once a year. That's the fun part too.
Oh yeah. And the idea shares for sure. So, that night, Sunday night goes late because everyone hangs out, but we're up early in the morning, Monday, 8:30 a.m. We have our coffee and conversations, which Marcy, you want to talk a little bit about the business basics bonus session?
Well, Trey Morris and I will be.
There you are.
Oh, am I on?
Yeah.
Trey Morris and I will be co-hosting a session about assistants. He's recently hired an assistant, but he thought it would be useful to have a conversation about assistants, what they do, how you use them, where you find them. Are you ready to have one? What's the best way to go about it? So I think it's just going to be like a Q&A kind of between the two of us to just basically talk about what I do for Jim Nye, what I do outside of working for Jim, but still in the industry. And Trey will have his assistant there she's fairly new, just talking about what she does for him and how she's simplified his business and all those kinds of things. So it'll be a 45-minute session. I think that will be the first morning.
Yep.
Not a formal session, during the coffee and conversations.
So we're adding a little bit in the mornings with the coffee and conversations, a little more context. So people can join in on that or sit out, stay in the lobby and have coffee either way. It's a little something for everyone. Then we kick off things with our keynote speaker. We're super excited to bring Tim Luke, who, if you've never heard Tim Luke speak, he's quite motivating and quite a big personality. And I think he's going to be fantastic to really set the tone for business development and getting everyone excited and motivated for for all the knowledge ahead. We'll take a quick break, and then 11 o'clock, we're bringing in Reggie Rivers from Colorado, former former NFL football player. He's going to talk about your secret weapon, supercharging your benefit auction and career with data analytics. And it's really fascinating because when you think about when you're consulting, it's one thing to, have like ideas, but when you can look back at people's data and see what they've actually done, be it with how auction items sold or how much money they raised in a paddle raise, and you look at those analytics, he's going to give us a lot of insights on that, and he'll leave us with tools that we can go online and pull so that we can help our clients with these analytics. But that's going to be great. We'll have lunch and meals provided. I should mention that we'll have sponsors there. If you've never been to the summit, a lot of the sponsors that are there are they're all in our industry. So if you've ever done consignment, a lot of consignment companies are there. You'll be able to network and meet with them and talk to them and learn, and the software companies and several more. So as those get announced, we'll find out more who's going to be there. And then Patrick, you want to talk about your voice or?
Yes, I brought this to the table. I have been taking voice lessons for over a year now. I've been an auctioneer about 5 years, and I would lose my voice, and it's kind of embarrassing. Well, it's super embarrassing on stage, but a lot of auctioneers are naturally gifted in that area and can go forever. I had to learn how to place my voice in my throat and not get stuck down here and get tired. And it seems like a lot of people thought that would be a good idea. So Ursula is coming recommended by Zan, who's also on our committee, and from Los Angeles. And Ursula specializes in speaking voices. My vocal teacher was available, but we went with this with Ursula. She specializes in speaking, is very accomplished, and is used to working with large groups. So I think it'll be time well spent. And I think it's one of those things that people maybe in the back of their mind, maybe I could use some help, or sometimes my voice gets tired. Why? How can I prevent it? How can I take care of it? How do I prepare? How do I recover? So hopefully everybody finds that valuable.
And from there, they're going to need to get an energy break. So we'll take a quick break and then pick things back up with Jerry Potter, who's coming. He's done I believe he was at a summit a couple of years ago. And this year he's going to be presenting on using video and social media to own your market. And this is
Jerry Potter.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh. So yeah, so this should be good. And a lot of this also is like with social media, it's like, how much time do you have to spend on social media a week? And he's going to really break it down so that everyone can walk away going, oh, I don't need to be an expert. I can do X, Y, and Z to be able to market myself properly. So I think that's going to be a lot of great tools there. We'll have a little bit of a break, and then we're going to close the day a little differently this year. At 4:45, we're going to do a mastermind discussion where basically we bring all the speakers from today, and we're going to do more of a closeout. And so if something was sitting on your mind, you didn't ask, or maybe, Marcy mentioned something in the morning, and then, Jerry said something and you want to put it all together and maybe have Marcy and Jerry, collaborate on that. We're going to have a mastermind session from 4:45 to 5:30. So a little bit of a different way of ending. And we're hoping that really, stirs up some good conversations and allows people to take those conversations to dinner. So that's our day one. Any questions or anyone want to pipe in?
Sounds exciting. Sounds fantastic. Well done, team.
All right. Thank you.
It's not easy putting this together. I know, I've done it, and it's not easy, and I congratulate you. Day one, I'm fired up for already.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Scott.
Yeah. And then Tuesday, we're going to start our coffee and conversations at 8:30. And this is going to be another one of those bonus sessions. And this is going to be a contracts round table discussion. And I'll let Patrick talk a little bit about that. But again, this coffee and conversations this year, instead of just having coffee and conversations outside, what we want to do is provide a little bit more. It's like just bonus material. So this is not like everyone, has to attend or whatnot, but we want to give people a chance just to get a little bit more. And Patrick, talk a little bit about what this session is.
Sure. As you can see there, it's going to be a discussion of contracts and just basically what are some of the clauses and restrictions perhaps that people are putting in their contracts and why. Obviously, we'll keep it very surface level, and you could take it back to your lawyer or your business expert and maybe consider adding or removing clauses. I've made a few adjustments over the years. So that's the idea there. We're hopefully going to have a few examples of contracts. I'm going to share what I have in my contract, which isn't very extensive. So that's that discussion there. Just basically an opportunity, like what's still relevant, what isn't, what's on the horizon, what's not.
And you'll talk about how you went from green M&Ms to red M&Ms, right?
That's how you know if they're paying attention, Seth. Don't make me tell you the story.
And then we'll kick things off then with our welcome and our consulting tools and tips. Gail herself, Janelle Taylor, will be leading this one with Dean Crownover, myself, and Gail Stallings. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about just consulting tools, things to consider when we're working with our clients in consulting. And then, Dean has his process. I have my process and Gail has hers, and we all have something that's a little different. So we're going to share our toolbooks, and show you what we're doing. And just to give a different, perspective of how we consult, and everyone consults a little differently. So hopefully that will spark some interest for folks as well. We'll take a break from there, and then we're going to talk about business development and scaling. We're just waiting for the speaker on that one to sign their papers, but the scaling. So this 11, when we got a break, and then 1:15, these two tie together real well. And Marcy and Patrick, if you want to jump in at any point on this, by all means. But the scaling, it's look, we're as auctioneers, maybe that's great. We come in and we do auctions, but what else can we do? So, some folks are MCs. Well, how do they get MC work? What's the purpose of MC work? Is it a purpose to make more money, or is it to get, if you MC, maybe MCing leads you to be able to work for that school as an MC and build a relationship, and now you're their auctioneer next year. So looking at the scaling ability of your business, and really then later on talking about those additional services, because some folks might realize, like, in my market, I can only make X number of dollars and get so many gigs as an auctioneer, but there's a real need for clerking. There's a real need for ringmen. There's a real need for ambassadors, or the list goes on and on. Someone to run the check-in and check-out, or the software, or the advance, or the admin, and all these sort of things. So we're going to look at all of that, and again, hopefully provide people with aha moments where they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about doing that as a side business, and realizing that many people in the room are doing a lot. I mean, Doug, you're a great example. You're an auctioneer and you're a ringman that's flying all over the country, right? The most sought after ringmen in the country.
Yeah. We're doing, I've been very fortunate to be able to travel around the country and do that. And then also, I was fortunate enough to go to San Francisco, and fill in last minute. And that was kind of a whirlwind deal, but that's all a part of the networking that really, for me, kind of happened a couple years ago in San Antonio, honestly. So, yeah.
And, other pieces of that is maybe some people, they don't want to auctioneer all the time. They want to refer business, and they want to build just a referral network, and they like to cold call, and they want to just build a network of auctioneers and connect them. So that's why this is broken into two different sections. And so we'll have a lot of fun with that. And then Marcy or Patrick, do you want to talk about how we close things at 2:30 with the hot seat problem solving?
That's you, Seth.
So we'll have a couple moderators there, and we're going to invert the panel. So we're really going to crowdsource how, like, here's a problem, and how would it be solved, and someone's going to have a real case situation that everyone's going to be able to participate and help share how they would solve these real-time situations. And that's the summit there. Of course, there's a lot of evening entertainment of just connecting with everyone, and this, we'll have a chance during the energy break. Those will be lunch and learns during lunch, and then energy breaks. These are opportunities for sponsors to share information about what they're doing. But I encourage everyone also to, if to meet the sponsors, go learn about them, because it's about relationships. And a lot of people have the same product or similar products. So on one hand, it is about the product, but also about the relationship. So it's a good chance to really get to know the folks in the industry. And feel free to reach out to any of us at the Summit Task Force, myself, Sarah Rose, Johnny Bravo, Patrick, Nelson J, TK, Marcy, and Zan. And you could find us on the NAA website and ask us questions, and also please, and if you're watching this later and you have an idea for a future summit, or during the summit you have an idea, like, gosh, because that's like, for example, the voice coach, that was an idea that someone had, that came up to us. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So any ideas you have for future education at the summits, please do share. And if you know a speaker or want to be a speaker on a subject, let us know as well, so we can include that. But yes, that's the summit. Does anyone else have any questions or want to add anything? All right. Well, thank you all so much for making the time. Thanks for those of you that are watching later. We look forward to seeing you at the summit. Don't wait. There is a discount, which is someone from the NA is going to jump on and tell us. July 28th. Thank you, Brooke. So you have until July 28th to get that discount, but don't wait. Go ahead and register. I'd love to see the list of all that are registering. It's fun to pop in there and see all the people from all over the country that are going to be joining us. And Charleston is right on the beach, so it should be a good time. And there's something that's to be said about benefit auctioneers and pools, isn't there? So there's that. Well, thanks everyone. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Seth, and to the whole team that's doing this. It's a lot of work. Appreciate it, you guys. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you.
All right.